This is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare miss it.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, this is Stan Schofield, and I'm inviting all of my KWK family and my family to watch Church Without Walls, 11 o'clock on Mondays, for the greatest and latest show around. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
This program does not reflect the views and opinions of the New Orleans Talk Network. Viewer discretion is advised. This program does not reflect the views and opinions of the New Orleans Talk Network.
Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time. What is the world coming to? Seems like everyone is running from the truth.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You are listening and you are watching Church Without Walls. We come into your home, to your automobile, wherever you may be, every Monday morning, 11 to 12 Central Standard Time. We certainly enjoy coming to you out of the beautiful studio of the New Orleans Talk Network. Church Without Walls. We come and want to thank everyone for listening and watching on Monday morning. We appreciate, we love you. Thank you for letting us come into your home. And we certainly want to wish every father, every wannabe father, a happy Father's Day from yesterday. I know many fathers enjoyed themselves, being with their family, being with their kids. Many fathers' kids took them out to eat. They came over and prepared food for them. And we so happy that they allowed us we so happy that our kids thought enough of us to want to share their time and show some love. And certainly I am happy that my kids, my daughter flew in from Atlanta to share Father's Day with me, and her and my son, they took me out to eat, and boy, did I enjoy myself. They said, Daddy, just don't look at the prices on the menu, just order and tell the waiters what you want. And that's a good figure, and I did just that. I told the waiters just what I wanted, and I had a great time with my daughter and my son. It was just a relationship with them, enjoying myself, the fellowship with the kids, and sat down, and the kids and gave me cards, and they said, Dad, I love you, and they showed some love with the card. So I thank God for my daughter and my son. I want them to know that I dearly love them, and I appreciate just being with them. You know, when you be with the kids, they took me to a great restaurant to eat, and boy, with that tab, when I looked at it, I said, wow. But they said it was, Daddy, it can't be anything you want, get it. And when you love your kids and they love you, I would enjoy myself if we would have went there to McDonald's and Popeye, just being with your kids. Just the love that you have with your kids, and when you have the connection you'd be so happy. But anyway, I enjoyed my Father's Day, and again, I thank my kids for taking old man out to eat, and I really enjoyed myself. And I hope that every father enjoyed themselves. They got the same kind of treatment, even better. So God bless you and keep you, everyone. Again, so much is going on in our country today, and you dare not to look at the news. You don't know if you're going or coming. And so many of us have lost loved one after loved one after loved one. But as they say, I used to come on a long time ago, show as the world turns. The world have to keep on turning. It doesn't stop. And God's way is not our way. His thought is not our thought is not his. But we live in a world that we have to trust in him. And I always tell a friend, every day is a great day. It's all depending on what you make out of it. If you trust in God and stay focused, it would be a great day. So we want to say to the listening audience, we love your Church Without Wall. We are here every Monday morning. We hope to knock down the wall that may stand in your way. I'm your host, Charles Stewart, and the co-host by the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams. And we're so happy to come to you every Monday morning, and we have inspiring guests. And sometimes God put on our heart just to deal with you, whatever your problem may be. And last week we had a great show. And today we have a great show in line for us. We have from us our special guest from Atlanta, Georgia. He comes from one of the most renowned and the most respected and the most loved family in the United States. He is the nephew of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And the first time that he came to this city, I met him. And when he walked in the door, I had to look back twice. I thought he was Dr. King. He looked so much like his uncle. And we're so happy that he's going to be our guest today. And we're excited to talk to him about the thing that happened yesterday and what's going to happen in the future. And we're so happy that he agreed to come on the show. We had his cousin on the show a couple of months ago. Mr. Derek King was on the show. And this brother here is he's the assistant director of the King Foundation, Atlanta, Georgia. Also, at one time he was the director. So he come with a lot of knowledge, and he understand as a young man what's going on in our world. And so we're so happy to have him, and he know a young man that I had the privilege to meet a couple of times. His name is Isaac Farris, and he is an anointed young man, a God-blessed young man, and have nothing but a wealth of knowledge. And we're so happy that he going to share with us, our listening audience. And y'all know you can download the app, www. New Orleans Talk Network. And also we're on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So I guess our producer, if we have Dr. Isaac on the phone, we would love for him to let the city of New Orleans and the city of Jefferson Parish and the city of New Orleans all across this nation meet Isaac Farris. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing,
Great to
Doc? We
be.
so happy that you was on the New Orleans Talk Network with Church Without Wall. We welcome you, Doc.
Yes, yes, and it's a great privilege and joy to be here with you, and good to be in touch with you again.
Yes, and Doctor, we want to for people doesn't know you, and we would like to get to know more about who you are. I understand that you were the director over the King Foundation, and as a young man, Doc, if you don't mind sharing us, as you came up, I know you came from a renowned family, and I know it had a lot of pressure on you. You had to watch every step you make as a young man coming up. What that life was like?
Oh well, it was I must say a a blessed life. It was you're right at times. It certainly was a responsibility. I would say being a part of a family that was so involved in the community, um, and also being a part of a first family of a church um, was also so. Yeah, you're right. At times there were a lot of eyes on me, but there was a lot of love and support
Right.
as well. Um, and so ultimately, that's what enabled me to get to where I am now is that love and support that continues to this day. Still a member of our home church in Atlanta, Ebenezer Baptist Church. Receive a lot of love and guidance and inspiration from there. And then just the community at large. So it's I always say, yeah, it certainly I never felt it was a burden at all. I felt it was more like a responsibility, but also a blessing as well.
Okay, Doctor. I had on many occasions uh, have spoke with different people in the community, and I like to get your opinion. We dealing with things that happened in the past, and oftentimes I done told young men that it takes someone that's courageous to take and to step out and want to be a leader, and not only lead the people, but your uncle like led the world. And my point that I would always try to make to people when they say, "Well, Dr. Kane, he had a lot of great people behind him," and I always say, from what I've seen in history, it's repeating itself right now. I know I don't know if you occur, but I know in my walk of life people that's supposed to stand up for the community, and when someone put themselves, given themselves to help the community, the people that could help the community most, they don't do anything. From what I see it, Dr. King, the help that he got came from probably I've seen a lot of young kids, a lot of older people that stood with him, but some of the people that in the community that's supposed to be, say, like a promising lawyer, a promising doctor, very few of them stood with them. It was like, say, like, even I noticed, I tell people that Caucasian, they were with him. And what is your opinion on that, doctor?
You broke up just a little. Could you repeat that last part of what you were saying?
No, the last part that I was saying is that Dr. King he stood along on a lot of things that I thought that, and just me saying this now, that I thought that people should have been helping him with, and he didn't get the help that at least in my mind, that I thought he should have. He got help from, say, Caucasian, older people, and young kids, and I'm just it seemed like to me that was his audience. That was the people that really wanted to go to jail for him. It wasn't a promising people like in our community today. You have people that say they're leader. They put on that three-piece suit and they walk around, but they don't do anything for the community. And it seemed like to me that I see that now, and from what I see out of my own two eyes, it seemed like Dr. King had that problem.
Yeah, no question. It is a problem that I guess has probably been around since Jesus walked the earth. You are right. There's always a group or a section of people that are comfortable where they are.
Yeah.
And they're not concerned about where anybody else is, but they're concerned about where they are. And they don't want anybody to come along and upset the apple cart. He confronted that. My uncle confronted that in our hometown in Atlanta. When he returned from Montgomery to relocate in Atlanta with his family and establish the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC. A lot of the local ministers weren't that happy about him coming back because they felt like he would upset the apple cart. Atlanta at that time was probably one of the better examples of separate but equal, but it was separate. But some people were happy in that separateness, in that segregation. And so they didn't want anybody coming along who might change that, regardless of whether or not it was the right thing for everybody. They were just concerned with themselves. So yes, he definitely confronted that. But fortunately, there were always others that outnumbered those few. And like you said, a lot of times they were the privileged and powerful few of our own race that he had to end up overcoming.
Well, Doc, I thank God for that you is picking up the fight there. I know it's a different time, a different area that we live in now, but thank God that you is help keeping up the fight. You as being president of the King Foundation, what's some of the things that the King Foundation have did under your leadership and what they're doing now that people that may not understand the King Foundation?
Yeah, well, currently our focus really is on the young generation. Now we've got about two generations that have no memory, no knowledge. Actually, three, no knowledge of Dr. King, Martin Luther King Jr., my uncle. And so a lot of our focus is really geared towards that, especially the young. We have a lot of young students through here weekly, just trying to teach them about Dr. King, but not just the "I Have a Dream" speech, but the principles of nonviolence.
Right.
And that's important because, unfortunately, especially with the younger generation and what they're confronting today, some people don't understand when we talk about nonviolence, what that means. And, that doesn't mean that you are docile and you accept and you let people run over you, and that you don't stand up for your rights.
Right.
And so it's important that, especially with all that our young people are confronted with today, and all of the violence and the various forms that they are presented with and inculcated with. So it's important that they understand that when we talk about nonviolence, we're not talking about, letting someone run over you or you not standing up for your rights.
Well,
For one, that's important.
well, Doctor,
I think
what and I guess I think somewhat different from most of my friends. Like they say, I'm not realistic on some of the things I think, but you know, I would love to see, and I don't know if y'all have that in the plan or not from the King Foundation that I wish, and maybe y'all have it set up, and I don't know anything about it, but I would like to see the King Foundation set up a center or something in, like I was saying, almost every state, and I know they have building community center named after Dr. King, but I think that I don't think it make me upset on Martin Luther King Day when they celebrate his birthday. They have these parades and these marches, and a lot of time, like to me, it's a disgrace what they do. And I think our people need to be educated. It's not about parading, guys out there clowning. Sometimes it's violent, people getting shot. Dr. King was a nonviolent person. You would think that would be, if any day, it wouldn't be no nonviolence, and you got it seemed to me that the leaders that put on them those events, that they just have a meeting after they have a meeting every year, every month, whenever they meet, how they gonna do a parade, and it's no kind of education that, like you said, working with our young kids, let them really understand who Dr. King was. And the thing is, it's about, like they don't teach them nothing but parade. I mean, like, get on my nerve. Every year, Martin Luther King birthday celebration. You know what it's going to be, Isaac? We're going to have a parade, and after the parade, we're going to march down. They're going to block the highway off. Then they're going to have a banquet. Then they plan the parade for next year. I mean, it's no education, no direction, or nothing, and that upset me. Hello?
yes, I'm here.
Okay, I didn't know if we had lost you or not. But anyway,
No, you said that effect. That was the last thing I heard you say. You say that effect.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that it upset me that every year it's the same instant replay. Like I said before, it's the parade and the banquet. Then they plan on next year parade.
Right.
But does the King Foundation do? If in the future would they be set up a different foundation centers in community to try to educate our young kids? Because I think they're very much needed.
Yeah, no, it's no question, and it goes without saying that they are our future leaders and decision makers. So, and our future taxpayers. So it's really important that we bring them along, and then of course also we're involved. One of the things I've been working with. Down there in Terrebonne Parish with the NAACP down there, trying to rectify the judge situation there. They've got a situation where all the judges are elected, parish-wide, and it makes it hard to integrate the bench.
Okay.
And fortunately, we've had some victories down there. So I think we're gonna, get one of they're gonna redraw those lines at least, and make those 5 judgeships, I think, district seats now. So that means that we probably will be able to get at least 1 or 2 black judges there.
Yeah, that's exciting for those people down there. Matter of fact, I had talked this morning with Mr. Barkin, Jerome Barkin, who is the president of the NAACP. I spoke with him this morning, and he excited about it. And matter of fact, I think the banquet is going to be on the 21st, I think next Friday, and he is out. No, it'll be this Friday coming, and he is out preparing and collecting money to give young kids scholarship to help them. So it was had a great conversation with him this morning. So you are so right when you said things are changing before our eyes. But what I wanted to get your opinion on is the Martin. I don't know if you heard me clearly when I said that the celebration they have on Dr. King's birthday. What is your opinion? How you feel about the way that they celebrate his birthday? And as I'm repeating myself back again. When I say that they only had to do parade and banquets every year, it's the same thing every year. What is your opinion on that?
Well, we started out kind of doing something similar to that years ago. And we kind of came to the conclusion that while that was nice, the celebration is good because we need to, celebrate. But we felt that it wasn't really the best way to honor the man. And so I don't know if a lot of people are not aware of this. But, my aunt, Coretta Scott King, actually went back to the Congress and said, we'd like you to change the legislation that created the national holiday and designate the day not only to celebrate the life and legacy of the man, but also designate it as a day of service.
Okay.
And so, and that happened, in probably 2000, somewhere around in there. So ever since that time, no, I'm sorry, 1998.
1998.
Yeah, about 1998. And ever since that time, we have, what we have encouraged people to do on the day is an act of service, meaning do something that benefits someone else other than yourself. And that could be something as simple as delivering a hot meal to somebody who can't get out to get it, or, depending on where somebody lives in the country, if they're snowed in, maybe you dig out their driveway or deliver a paper to someone who can't get out. Just anything. It could be anything that benefits someone else other than yourself, meaning you're doing something to help or benefit somebody else instead of helping yourself. And that could be as simple or as complex as you decide to do. But to your point, we just don't want it to be a day where you just sit around and talk about how great my uncle was, or how great Dr. King was, and you just maybe hang out in the park, take it as just another day off. As a matter of fact, our every year theme is a day on, not a day on, not a day off. Meaning it shouldn't just be like Labor Day or something of that nature. It should be a day where you're doing something to help somebody, and that's what my uncle would be very happy about. So I agree with you that we need to concentrate less on the parades and the marches might be good depending on what they're marching for. You know, if there's a real issue that needs to be addressed, that might be a way to bring attention and support to the cause. So the marching, I think you have to look at on a case by case basis. The parades are not bad, but I think we should do more on the day than just have a parade. To your point. So I agree with you. If people want to do the parade, that's fine, but also make sure that you do something else on that day that's just beyond the celebration.
Well, Isaac, I don't know what they do in other states, but here it does a parade like it's carnival. You know, they drinking, acting all crazy, you know, and I certainly love the holiday, and you know, and I really honor the holiday. I just gotta have a problem with the way they celebrate. There's no purpose behind it, like you said. If they were marching for a cause, I mean, it's just a big party and a banquet, and only people that benefit from it is the people who own the big banquet hall that everybody show up to. And you know, the people who sell goods and service. I mean, I don't see nothing the community gain from it. But Dr. Isaac, could you hold on a second if you could stay with us a little longer? I have to take a station break.
Sure.
Okay, we're gonna take a break and we'll be back. You are listening and you are watching Church Without Walls, and we honored to have Dr. Isaac Farris on the phone with us today, the nephew of Dr. King. We'll be back.
Yo, Mom, kick it for me one time.
This is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare.
The New Orleans Talk Network, now on your mobile device, on your computer, in your ear, and interactive. It's new, it's innovative, and it's on your mobile device. Android, iPhone, iPad, and on your computer. Take us wherever you go. Because we're interactive. 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255.
New year, new show. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you there.
Yo, Mom, kick it for me one time.
We are back. You are listening and you are watching Church Without Walls. I'm your host, Charles Stewart, and we come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12. And we so excited and delighted to have with us from Atlanta, Georgia, the nephew of Dr. King, Mr. Isaac Farris. And we so happy to have him. He been on the phone with us for the last half an hour, and we so happy that he taking time out of his busy schedule to share something with him in his life that many of us don't know him, but he is a exciting young man to know. And I know a lot of y'all that listen and watching is get to know him. And the more you know him, the more you will love him. And I always tell people that he look almost identical like his uncle. And he is a great young man, and he taking time out of his schedule to be with us today. Doc, you still on the phone there with us, Doc? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Now, you have quite a bit on your website there, Doctor. But if you seem to be, in my opinion, you seem to be a little bit upset on where the direction the country is going right now. If I'm reading your website correctly. And I don't know if you want to talk about this or not. I mean, I'm not, twisting your arms or nothing to get you to share your views, but the direction that this country is going in, I wonder, would you like to share with us on some of your views, the direction that our country going in now?
Yeah, well, I think most, well, like a lot of Americans, I am concerned about the direction that it's going in. I think that the country's changing. America's browning, and I think that's scaring a lot of our fellow white Americans. And quite frankly, I think that's why we have the president that we have now. I would venture to say that every American white that you and I know, regardless of what they say to us, went in their voting booth and voted for Donald Trump. They might have said to us that they would never do that, that the stuff he's saying is crazy, and I think a lot of them do believe that some of the stuff that he's saying is crazy. But what they believe first and foremost is what he tells them. Essentially, is I'm going to make America, take America back to when whites were firmly in control, when we were not a minority. Because that's where it's headed. I mean, 15 years, 20 years from now, American whites will be another minority group like we American blacks are, and that's scaring them. Right. And so, yeah, I'm concerned, because it's causing them to do and let some crazy stuff happen. For instance, a lot of American whites are running around here thinking that the Voting Rights Act, for instance, is a black law. It's not a black law.
Right.
In fact, what it is their protection against the very thing that they're afraid about. If you read the Voting Rights Act, it doesn't talk about black people or white people. It talks about majority and minorities.
Right.
Doesn't even mention race. It's about, protecting a minority from majority rule, abuse. But yet you've got American whites, especially in these states and the Supreme Court. American whites are running around here celebrating because the Supreme Court, pretty much gutted at least the enforcement, the preventive measures in the Voting Rights Act to prevent, people from being able to discriminate or to have these crazy restrictions on voting and making people jump through hoops to be able to vote and now, doing crazy things like locating precincts in some areas where buses don't get to. All of this type of stuff can happen now because of what the Supreme Court has done, and there are American whites running around celebrating and not realizing that, hey, you're getting ready to be a minority. So you're stripping away stuff to protect yourself, so that people who haven't, been fully subscribing to Dr. King's beloved community, who might want some vengeance, want to take revenge, might want to take the attitude, why can't we treat white people like they treated colored people for hundreds of years? Why can't we make it harder for them to vote?
Yeah.
Now that I mean, can you imagine blacks control politically Atlanta? Can you imagine in Atlanta, deciding one day to say, hey, let's decide to make it harder for white people to vote here in Atlanta. Let's start, playing with where we put the precincts, and let's start closing their polling places down early before we close ours down. All of this stuff is prevented by the Voting Rights Act. And it's not based on what color you are. It's based on, you being in a group that doesn't have the power because you're in a minority. So there's a law that protects you. But American whites and their fear and their concern and a lot of it's guilt. If you've abused somebody and then they turn out to grow up or to reach a point of having equal power or more power than you, certainly.
But
and so I'm concerned about what's happening in the country. But more importantly, aside from the immediate, I'm concerned about the long term.
Right.
I mean, the reality is that I'm willing to say, even with all that's going on today, I'm willing to say that we have conquered surface racism.
Right.
And let me explain that, because that doesn't mean that, there's not still some people running around who got some crazy racist notions. We just saw that in Charlottesville. But even racist today, that guy David Duke, down there in your territory, if you had David Duke on the show right now and called him a racist, he would get offended.
Right.
And deny that he was a racist. Now, this is a guy that 20, 30 years ago, he would come on your show and tell you he was a racist, and proudly. But even David Duke, the former Ku Klux Klan, head of the Ku Klux Klan, if he were on your show right now, he would deny being a racist.
Right.
Now, he would have a beautiful explanation as to why we shouldn't, black people and white people should be separate, but it wouldn't be racism in his mind. So the point that I'm making is he's done a great job. Okay, everybody's straight on, hey, you can't be a racist, and that's bad on the surface. Okay, but there's still a reason why, in black neighborhoods, across this country, we've got what we call food deserts.
Right. Okay.
Because certain establishments just won't locate in black communities. And why is that? Well, the first thing somebody might say, well, it's crime. They just don't want to come where crime is. Well, every grocery store that I go into in the finest parts of town. Okay, we got a part of town here in Atlanta called Buckhead. That is the cream of the crop in Atlanta. You go in any grocery store in Buckhead, you know the first thing you're going to see when you walk in the store is an armed security guard.
Okay.
Okay? So why you going to have an armed security guard in a place that's supposed to be safe? The point I'm making is, so it can't be crime, right? Okay, because first off, crime don't happen where there's nothing to steal.
Right.
So it can't be crime. Well, somebody else might say, well, you know, they want to go where the money is. So, you know, well, the surest place for a grocery store to make money is in a lot of our urban black communities, unfortunately. Why? Because a lot of those people get those EBT cards. Okay?
Okay.
Which is the same, if not better than cash. And here again, every grocery store in Buckhead takes EBT cards. Okay? If you hang around in any store in America, I don't care how rich the neighborhood is, you will see somebody come in there and use an EBT card.
Yep.
And that money is automatic. Okay? When they punch that thing in there, that's in your account. So it can't be the money. Right? And last but not least, I assure you, as much as greedy as they are, I assure you, the people at Walmart, the CEO at Walmart is not sitting around in his office saying, okay, hey, let's figure out how we can avoid the black neighborhood. Believe me, they want the money.
Yeah.
But racism is so systemic. It's in there before it even gets to the CEO's office. It's in the computer. So, you know, they got computer systems to tell you where to locate stores, right? I mean, but it's in the programming that, you know, okay, there's a certain zip code here that tells us black people this. So the computer program says don't put a store there.
Right.
That's how deep the systemic racism is. So, and we've got to, that's the next level. Okay. That's the next place we got to go. And I'm sorry, no, I'm talking long here and not giving you a chance to say anything, so I'm about to shut up. But that's the next point of where we got to go, and we cannot do that alone. Okay? The same way we got the Civil Rights Act, and there were only 5 black congressmen in Congress and no black senators.
Right.
Okay? The same for the Voting Rights Act. So we need white people to buy in. I'm not talking about sucking up to white people. Okay, and stepping and fetching. I'm not talking that. I'm just saying the reality is we're going to need their buy-in to get to the second frontier.
Right.
And right now, they are not buying in, whether they admit it or not, because they're like, hey, you know, who's looking out for me? Y'all getting ready to take over, and what does that mean for me? Are y'all getting ready to abuse me? In walks Donald Trump. Hey, people, you know, I'm not going to let them abuse you. Okay? And so they'll say to us, hey, he's talking like a racist, and how can he say that? And that is just wrong. And then they walked in there and voted for him. And they will do it again if we're not careful in 2020. So I know I've said a lot. You got me there. I didn't mean. I try not to talk too much because sometimes you need to shut up and listen so you can learn. So let me shut up now because I have said a lot.
Yeah, well, Doc, you said a lot, but that's something that we need to hear, you know. And I know we're running out of time, but the biggest thing, I guess the big elephant in the room that I always think about. One key thing you said in 20 years from now, you know, the Caucasian would be the minority. But the thing that I think that the nation, especially in the African-American community, that we not focused upon, since the Caucasians know that they're going to be the minority, they putting system in places. And what I mean by that, the money. Now, I noticed that in New Orleans, like when the African Americans took over that city, they took it over, but they put the money in a different. They put provision. They put the money in different nonprofit. Although they had the political power, but they didn't have the money power. And you know, Doc, money controls everything. And I think this happening all over the country, that they putting the money in certain areas, and like in state, I know they put in, and they have different foundation. They put the money, so wherever the money at, that's where they control that. So I think that need to be a discussion that African Americans need to have is how do they be a part of the money? That's the only thing that
Well, I can
matters.
answer that for you. I can answer that for you because I think that the prime example of how you do that is Atlanta, Georgia. Maynard Jackson came up with a brilliant idea, the first black mayor of Atlanta. And he said, look, for every dollar we spend, it's part of it's going to be spent, with go towards black economic activity. And see, that's an example of what I just got through talking about. I mean,
Right.
That's why Atlanta, punches above its weight, especially for Black Americans. I mean, Atlanta proper, the city of Atlanta has less than 1 million people within the city limits of Atlanta, but it leaves, say, a city like Chicago in the dust when you're talking about the black economic activity, the number of black millionaires.
Okay.
Even though Chicago has, twice as many black people as the city of Atlanta, is the point that I'm trying to make.
Okay.
But Atlanta, did it right. Meaning when it got the political control, it also got the white business community to buy into the concept of, look, we have to share, we have to spread the money around, not just the nonprofit money, but the profit money. We have to create black businesses.
Okay.
We have to do that. And we're going to mandate it in the law. I mean, we built the Atlanta airport, which today is the busiest airport in the world, actually.
Okay.
But that was a multi-$100 million project. Man, we're not going to spend we're not going to spend $500 million and spend all of that with white businesses. No, at least $200 million of that. Well, actually, at least $300 million of that money's got to go to black business. So. But here again, sure, we blacks had the political clout to force it to make it happen, but also you had to have the buy-in of the white community. And so I know our time is running short, but
yeah, it's
you gotta have that buy-in. Is the point that I'm trying to make. You gotta have the plan. You gotta have the buy-in, and right now we don't have the buy-in to do anything else. If anything, we're losing ground. Some of the ground is going to hurt them. They don't realize it, but we're losing ground.
Right.
We still need affirmative action, especially economic affirmative action.
Right. Hey, Doc, we have
and let me leave you with this one quickly. One of the things we need to also do is we need to be willing to extend that that economic affirmative action to rural whites. Okay, because the bottom line, rural white economically, not racially, but economically, they've been discriminated against like we have.
Yeah. Well, Doc, look, I have to end the show, but what I'm looking at in the future, I want you to know I appreciate it so much taking time out of your busy schedule to be on Church Without Walls. And in the future, I had wanted to put together a plan that we can sit down and talk, different pastors, community leaders, and have the kind of conversation that we had today. And hopefully, Doc, we might can get you to come down and be a part of this, because this is something very, very much needed that we need to sit down and figure out how could. And your uncle made a speech, I forget, at one university years ago. I think he may have been at a high school or something. And he addressed economic, and that's something they never play. But a friend of mine got a tape for that. Doc, when I think you coming to town around 24th, so I'm gonna try to get that tape and let you hear it, Doc. He addressed what we're talking about today, that you need the almighty dollar. But anyway, Doc, I got to wrap this show up, and I thank you so much, man. I love you for coming on, and I hope to see you, I think, this weekend. And I love you so much, and thank you, and I'll be getting back in touch with you.
All right. Look forward to seeing you this weekend, and God bless.
Okay, God bless you. And to our listening audience, we thank you for listening and watching. And we didn't take any calls because I think that something was being said that very much need to be heard. So, again, thank you for watching and listening. We are Church Without Walls. Remember, it's no such thing as being half dead. If you're dead, you're dead. Love you. See y'all next week. And don't forget that Friday in Homer, NWCP having a annual banquet. So those in the Homer area, wherever it may be, if you want to attend that, you can call me or call the station. I'll tell you how you can get tickets. So love y'all. And also this Saturday, First Lady Gwen Jones, the women having their event. So if you want tickets for that, call the station and ask for Sister Gwen. This coming Saturday, the women having an excellent program. So love y'all. God keep you. Till next week.
Kick it for me one more time. Jesus is spreading mighty